Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing a tier list for all of the brand new decks that are in the metagame. This is also going to be kind of based off of what is doing well in tournaments. So as you can see, we have a whole bunch of different of decks here, and I'm pretty sure there's almost every single one. A lot of the decks that are possible to play are here. So I think we should just start right off with ADP. Obviously, it is not fun. It has been performing very, very well. And one of the reasons for this is just because it is a deck that everyone knows how to play. It has an extremely refined list with only a couple new changes from battle styles, with things like Escape Rope and maybe even Rusted Sword from Shining Fates. So right now, it's probably one of the BDIFs. It's also performing very, very well as well. Not only is it showing up in very high numbers in most tournaments, but it's also doing very, very well. So I'm going to put it up here in one of the BDIFs. Of course, ADP's option has been around for forever. It's been around since Zacian was released, and it's been a top deck. Only maybe lulling down a little bit in the end of the Vivid Voltage meta when Pika Rom started to do very, very well. So ADP here in the BDIF. And next we have Aerodactyl. We're going to be here in Fun Decks, Aerodactyl Gallistopod. It's not a very, very good deck. It does show up sometimes, but it doesn't show up consistently either. I think right after that, we're just going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of decks that are probably not very good here in the bottom. So let's just do this. Here we go. All these decks, obviously, they're not great cards, and they're probably going to be seeing play that people are looking for something else to play. Whimsicott is actually not a meme deck really, because just his weakness on Urshifu, but Whimsicott GX is most definitely. So let's see. Yeah, look at the Lapras has actually been performing decent with Pikarom doing not as great. So I'm actually not going to put that one in fun here. No, I'm actually just going to pause this and come back when I'm done with it. All right, so I have finished sorting everything here. These are all the fun decks. We have Aerodactyl Gallistopod, Straight Alchemy, Charizard, Colossal, Fossil Lock, Hydrogen Box, Ball Juggling, Kingdra, Flapple VMAX, Liquid Control, Slowpoke and Psyduck, Sand Cannon, Sandaconda, Pumping False Steelix, Seeking Energy Denial, Amazing Rare Yveltal, Whimsicott GX, Toxtricity Mill, Glaring Darmanitan VMAX, Melodic V, Gengar Mimikyu, Omastar, Durant Mill, Straight Naganadel, and Guzzlord, Phalanx, Garchomp Giratina, Salamence, Reshiram and Zekrom, Reshiram Amazing Rare, and Raikou Amazing Rare. So these are all the fun decks. And now let's get into the real stuff. We already have ADP here in the BDIF section, but I think right up with ADP is probably going to be Rapid Strike Urshifu. Has not been performing as well as people have speculated, but nonetheless is a good deck. So not only are we going to put Rapid Strike Urshifu up there, but we're also going to put Single Strike up here. It's actually been performing a little bit better than Rapid Strike, so I'm actually going to put it in front of Rapid Strike. Rapid Strike obviously can be built in so many different ways, and people just still don't know what version of Rapid Strike is the best one. And Single Strike just has like the one refined list that you can play and is just doing generally better than Rapid Strike. So I'm actually going to put Single Strike over Rapid Strike here. Blacephalon, I think straight Blacephalon. Is this going to be straight Blacephalon, or is this going to be Tempo Zard. I think this is this. Do we have it? Sharon Charizard. Okay, so I think this is probably gonna be Tempo Zard. Straight Blacephalon. I'm actually gonna put. Probably I'm gonna be putting it in the lower end of Tier 1. Straight Blacephalon is still a deck that you can play. But Tempo Zard, which I have right here, is probably just a lot better than I just watched Azul get into the global. I believe it's the global part of the Players' Cup playing Tempo Zard. So that is pretty cool. Tempo Zard just probably a lot better than the Quad Blacephalon build of the deck. Control. We don't have a new variant of Control. Usually Sander comes up with some brand new Control deck for each format. He hasn't done that yet, so much less Control. I think it's just going to be with like the Monk and stuff. It's still a decent deck. I think I'll put it here in Tier 1. If you know how to play it, it's a very strong deck, so I think I'll put it like mid-Tier 1. I think I'll actually put it in front of Blacephalon here. Charon Tapu Bulu. Yeah, Tier 3. It's not a very good deck and hasn't been performing very well either. Straight Dragapult obviously has seen a lot of success in both the Greens build and the Jirachi build. So I'm actually going to put this in at Tier 1, also because it hits these Urshifu's for weakness and has decent matchups against everything else, causing it to do very, very well in tournaments. So that is going to be in one of the BDAS. Centiskorch. Centiskorch has been definitely performing. This will probably be right here. Now, it'd be right up here with ADP, I think. There's been a straight Centiskorch build, won one of the first Battle Styles tournaments without any new cards from Battle Styles in it. But there's also been a build running around with plays 2/2 line of Centiskorch and a whole bunch of fire attackers, and another build of Centiskorch that plays a 2/2 line of Centiskorch and a 2/2 Victini VMAX. Speaking of Victini VMAX, I believe it is here, correct? Why do we have 2 Orbeetles? I did not know why we had 2 Orbeetles. Victini VMAX on here. Here is that. So Victini VMAX also been performing very well too. I'm gonna put this right in front of Single Strike and before Centiskorch, because Centiskorch, the straight Centiskorch has been performing a little bit better than Victini. See what else can we put on here. Mad Party. I am going to be putting at the top of Tier 1 because it gets absolutely destroyed by Dragapult, but it does have a good matchup against the Urshifu, so that causes it to probably go from around here over to here. Dragapult just being such a good deck just stunts this deck as well. Only bad thing about Mad Party probably is that it can't play Power Plant to stop the Urshifus from playing and using the Jirachi GX. Can't play Power Plant because it needs to have access to the Dene GX, which I think is one thing that really holds it back, as well as the Dragapult just being a very good deck as well. So I'm going to be putting Mad Party here at Tier 1. Corviknight VMAX. I think I'm going to be putting it before Mad Party. It's been showing up. It hasn't been doing too crazy, but it's been doing okay. I think I might should it go before or after Control. I think we're just going to put it after Control or before Control. Control isn't seeing very much success. It's been played, but in the right hands, it is, of course, a decent deck. Just success-wise, it hasn't been seeing that Corviknight has. So, there we go. Now we have Eternatus. Eternatus, obviously, because of these 2 fighting guys doing very, very well, has been decreasing in numbers, and that's also one of the reasons that Dragapult has been popping up. So, Eternatus, I'm going to put after Dragapult in Tier 1. This is a really hard decision because I think I'm going to put it before. It has to be in front of Dragapult because it just destroys Dragapult. But Tempo Zard also has a decent matchup against it, and obviously the 2 Urshifus do as well. And the Victini can manage a boss, and it's also fine. So I think that is a fine spot for Eternatus. Obviously, before Battle Styles came out, it would have been all the way up here, but now it's fallen all the way down just because of 2 fighting decks coming into the metagame. See what else? Loop Metal. I'm going to put here at the bottom of tier 1, maybe tier 1.5. Yeah, I think tier 1.5. Obviously, well, not obviously, but Corviknight can play a Luke Metal, which I think just like Luke Metal Corviknight is just probably a better deck because it has that option with Cheryl. Probably just a better deck than regular Luke Metalization. So I think I'm going to be putting Luke Metalization here in the 1.5 purely just because Corviknight VMAX Bronzong with a Luke Metal it is probably just going to be performing better and be doing better because Luke Metal only has access to Malolana, while this has access to Cheryl. So I think that's a fine spot to put the deck. Yeah, Lapras here. Lapras has been seeing some success. It got a top 8 the other day. So it's not going to go in one of the BDS. I think I'm actually going to place it here below Mad Party. It can play on these two cards, which can put it above Mad Party, I guess. Yeah, I think I'll put it here, maybe in the top of tier 1 before Corviknight. Yeah. This seems like a good spot for it. Obviously, you just load energy on to your Lapras with Frostmoth, and then swing for huge numbers with Gmax Pump. It's not a horrible strategy, but obviously Pikarom held it back. Speaking of Pikarom, let's put Pikarom here. Pikarom did quite well in the Hegster the other day, so it's not a bad. It's not like a completely unplayable deck. I'm actually going to put it right here above Lapras. It's still a deck that's obviously like a Tyranids not showing up as much because it is weak to those two big fighting Pokemon that were just introduced to the format. That doesn't mean like if you can dodge and weave these big fighting Pokemon VMAX, then you can do decently well. Speaking, let's just go to Played Out Limitless and see how did Pikarom do, because I didn't actually look at the tournaments here. While we're here also, if you want to play in my tournament, the Vivid Voltage only tournament that is happening on Wednesday, then you can play. We currently have no people. So here, let's see. Mad Party, I believe, won this tournament. Yeah, so if you want to counter Mad Party, there might be more Mad Party showing up. So maybe play some Dragapult this time around. Yeah, Pikarom taking not 5th place. Taking 5th place. Let's take a look at the list. Pretty sure it's just your standard Pikarom from before Battle Styles. Yeah, this is just, there's no new cards in this deck, and it managed to get 5th place. So Pikarom is still a pretty decent deck to play. I'll be putting it here in tier 1. Colossal, I think I'm going to put it in tier 2. It won a tournament. Honestly, I have no idea how it won a tournament. There's just, these two fighting Pokemon are probably just better than Colossal. One of the reasons Colossal was a deck, like just a deck on its own, was because of its fighting typing. Obviously, it had weakness on Pikarom and Eternatus, which are both very powerful decks. But now that we have other fighting Pokemon, the Urshifu, a Rapid Strike Urshifu doesn't have to get an Oranguru down, doesn't have to get energy on top of the deck and an energy on your VMAX. All it needs is a couple of switching cards and an energy. So Colossal probably gets bumped down just because they're a better fighting type Pokemon in the format now. One advantage I guess it has is it can utilize the padding with stone fighting energy. So that is an idea, but it's not. It doesn't have the same power level as it did before Battle Styles because there's just better fighting Pokemon to play now. Also, I have been having some ideas with Colossal VMAX with things like Cheryl. Obviously, I love Colossal VMAX. I think it's a really cool card. So I'll probably be doing something with Colossal VMAX and Cheryl on the channel soon. But even though I do a video on it, doesn't mean it's a good deck, unfortunately. So putting it here at tier 2. Now we have a whole load of Mewtwo variants. And I mean a whole load. How many is this? There's 7 Mewtwo variants. Okay, let's just get started. Mewtwo Bronzong. It's probably not as good as Mewtwo Togekiss because it can't utilize Cheryl the way Togekiss can, but also its damage output is higher. So I think I'm actually going to be putting it above Luke Metal because it can do Luke Metal things because it does obviously play Zacian and can play Luke Metal. So I'm putting it above Luke Metal. Yeah, I'm going to be putting it above Luke Metal. Now, it doesn't deserve tier 1. It's not that great of a deck, so I think I'm just going to be putting it here at the top of tier 1.5 after Luke Metal. We have Mewtwo Water. I'll be putting it down here with Cherim Bulu, unfortunately. It saw a little bit of success, and that was a while ago. I don't know if Vivid Voltage had even released when this card, when this deck was seeing play, but obviously it just dropped off. Just because, it's more of a meme than anything. So I'm putting it here at tier 3. It is a better deck than a lot of these decks down here, but it is a Mewtwo deck, which could bump it up in theory. Yeah, we have to keep in mind with all these Mewtwo decks that they do all play Mewtwo and Mew, which hits weakness on these two guys. Only bad thing opposed to being like a Dragapult is that you can't play Power Plant to turn off their Jirachi GX, because that turns off your Perfection. So I'm going to be putting it here below Colossal, maybe high. Yeah, I'm going to be putting it below Colossal for now. It could move down to tier 3 depending on other decks that we put. Lightning Mewtwo, I think I'm going to be putting right before Pikarom, just because it's a lot like Pikarom in the fact that it can do Pikarom things, like with Full Blitz, and it has the Mewtwo to hit weakness on these guys. But obviously, like all the other Mewtwo decks, it can't play Power Plant to get around Jirachi. Though it does have access to Venom Shot to get around the Jirachi as well. And this Rapid Strike decks at least aren't playing Mew. Some of the Single Strike ones are, just so they can protect their Houndooms, and your Venom Shot could get caught in the crossfire of that, because they're playing Mew to prevent Rapid Flows, using things like that. So, I don't know, I'm putting it below Pikarom here. Just not as good as Pikarom, but also has those lightning Pokemon to take advantage of Lapras. Psychic Mewtwo. I think I'm gonna have to be putting this guy below Luke Metal. I can bump Colossal up. I think I'm actually gonna be. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Bump Colossal up a tier and put Mewtwo Psychic in its place. Once again, it has access to Mewtwo, but also the Psychic attackers are starting to not really be able to keep up with the huge VMAXs. So I'm gonna just put that there at tier 2. And then finally, Grass Mewtwo. I don't know. This is a hard one because it has the energy advantage. It can just get rid of huge amounts of energy, but I think I'm gonna have to be putting this guy here after Psychic Mewtwo, after Water Mewtwo, but before Colossal. Yeah, that looks fine. Colossal before this Mewtwo, just because Mewtwo is Mewtwo. But yeah, so that'll be fine there. We have one more. We have Mewtwo Urshifu. I believe this is the Welder Mewtwo Urshifu. This one's going to be tricky. I think this one should go. I'm going to put it here. No, I'm going to put it after Eternatus before Templezard, because obviously it has that type of advantage over Eternatus and the Urshifus. It can just also be generally pretty good against Pikarom, so that seems like a fine spot. Last one, Mewtwo Welder. I have been seeing a decent amount of success just because, like ADP, it's just a deck that has been totally refined. Mewtwo Welder has been a deck for like 2 or 3 years now, so people know how to build the deck and how to play it. So I'm going to put it right here before Rapid Strike Urshifu. Still a whole bunch more decks to go. Inteleon, like Lapras, has been seeing some success with Pikarom's decline, so I'm going to be putting it above Lapras. I think it is a little bit of a better deck, more versatile deck. It's not like linear, like I'm going to load everything on one guy, and if I hit Pikarom, I lose because I can't knock out anything without losing all my energy. So Inteleon, I think I'm going to be putting above Lapras here, but obviously still with the Lightning, which keeps it below Pikarom, things like that. Pikachu. Oh, I forgot to put that guy in the fun tier. Equal, that's in fun, that's in fun. I forgot to put a whole bunch of fun, oh my god. Tapu Koko. I know Mellow Magikarp has been liking this deck, and Azul recently won a tournament with this Tapu Koko VMAX deck, Green's deck, undefeated. So, but it's, even though someone wins with that deck doesn't mean it's the greatest deck ever. So I think I'm gonna have to somewhere in here. It's not down here. It's not that bad of a deck. I think I'm gonna put it around here. Seems about good. It's not on a level of any of these guys with ADP, but it is a fun green stack to play that can take some wins. Rowegg, I believe this probably gonna be worse than the grass one. I think I'm gonna have to put it right here. I mean, obviously, I think in this metagame, grass Mewtwo is obviously almost always gonna be better because you have that access to Mewtwo. So not playing Mewtwo in Rowegg Rillaboom can really hurt you. So I think this just has to go below grass Mewtwo just for that one reason that you're not gonna be playing Mewtwo. Mewtwo is such a big aspect of that. Flygon, yeah. Frontier. Primeape. It's not like it's not level fun that these are, but it's also not great. I think I'm gonna be putting this with Tapu Bulu Cherim. Escadrille. Obviously with the lightning decks being decreased, if you want to play fighting deck, just play these guys. So here. And Charizard, fun. Cinderace. Top of tier 3. It is a deck. I mean, you also have access to Cheryl now, which is okay. I mean, you can like play this like Magneton, I guess, like knock out the Magneton, get Cheryl, Welder, Lieutenant Surge. So that is a thing. If you want to try that, I haven't tried that out myself. I don't know if anyone else has, but it is a card in a deck, but it is not the greatest of decks either. Donphan, gonna be putting it below Excadrill. Excadrill probably has a little bit more versatility. Togekiss Bronzong. I think I'm gonna be putting it up here with the Browns. Should I put it up? No, it's not. It's not that great. I think I'm gonna be putting it here below Bronzong. No, I'm gonna be putting it above. Now I'm gonna be putting it above Bronzong Mewtwo just because you have access to Cheryl and a way to search out the Cheryl very good, very consistently. So I think it goes above Mewtwo, Bronzong, for that one reason that you can search out the Cheryls very consistently. Double, I don't know what deck this is, but it's probably bad. Ditto box. I think I'm just gonna call this Ditto ADP box because that saw a little bit of play. It did okay, but probably not good. So we're just gonna put it here in the tier 1.5. Now we'll put it here in top tier 2. Whimsicott. You lose to Dragapult, which is, always a bad thing, especially Dragapult being up here as one of the BDIFs. But you hit weakness on the Urshis and all the Mewtwo's that are trying to prey on the Urshis, so I think it goes right up with Mad Party. Yeah, up with Mad Party, but before Corviknight, I think. No, we gotta go after Corviknight, because it is a psychic type and hits weakness on all the big Urshithus and Mewtwo's. Stray Zacian hasn't been seeing much success, unfortunately. So just gonna put it here, tier 1.5, I guess. It is a deck, but with some of the tag teams going down the tier list with things like Mewtwo and Mew and Luke Metal, are not going to be as good of a deck. So that was a Weeping Bell. That's probably fun. The Decidueye. Now the Decidueye won one of the first Battle Styles tournaments as well, and that's just preying on a lot of the new decks, just not playing counters to the Decidueye. There are a lot of the new decks and a lot of the way people are building them are just focusing on consistency and not teching for things like the Decidueye. So at the beginning of the metagame, a lot like ADP, if you can play the Decidueye and probably get a whole bunch of cheap wins just because people are focusing with consistency on their deck and not teching for matchups yet. So you can prey on those decks. But the Decidueye, I think I'm actually going to put it here before Dragapult. And then Orbeetle. There's 2 Orbeetles, so put one of them here randomly. Orbeetle. This is a difficult one. It's probably just going to be fun, unfortunately. It's not the greatest deck. That's fun. That's fun. And the teeny box. Probably not good. Just put it there. Okay, so this is my tier list. We have obviously a lot of the very good decks, more of the BDIFs, which this is why as the format goes older and older, it's probably going to be moving it down the tier list, just because people starting to be teching for it in their VMAX decks, things like Phoebe, or in welder decks with playing Wolf Canyons. But yeah, it's going to be the tier list. And that is also going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, don't forget to like the video. If you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe, as I do a whole bunch of Pokemon trading card game deck lists, deck profiles, gameplay, and also occasionally stuff like this. Yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I will see you guys in the next one, and see you.